Fire, your mind, your kosher clinician. Bringing to you live once again as I'm about to drop this fire for your mind. Listen, something has been going on that's not new to many in this sphere of the YouTube land that we're actually talking about and dealing with. It appears that Dr. Dre has been broken not only once, but actually several times. If you go back and look at the news in the past, Dr. Dre was a victim of an onerous divorce where he's expected to pay millions of dollars to his wife that is a lawyer, a woman that he had committed his life to mostly for the last 20 some odd years. Now Dr. Dre is being expected to pay this woman millions of dollars in divorce court. But on the flip side, it appears that Dr. Dre has been broken because he did not believe that the fat meat is greasy on both occasions, where his now daughter is homeless, and she's expecting him to come through and to give her solace as she is homeless with 4 kids. I did a show in the past entitled, What is a Queen Without a Crown? And one of the 7 steps to male optimization is family, mental health, and understanding female psychology. But it appears in this case that Dr. Dre, like many men, are actually rich in assets and resources, but they're not rich in common sense and psychology as it relates to female nature. And because of that, Dr. Dre has been broken on many sides. I told you guys the time is coming where you have to preserve yourself from the things that are actually about to happen in this current world that we live in. If you believe in the tenets of theology, the gospel even says to save yourself from this untoward generation. And we live in a very untoward generation, a generation where men are actually being trampled upon and only seen as tools of commodification to more or less gratify those in their lives. And because of that, Dr. Dre, as I said earlier, has been broken. This young lady, you would think that after one child, she would have learned from her mistake and taken the proper precautions not to have another child. But what happens when a lot of our women, because they are entitled, are not following the headship of their fathers, not only do they become broken because they don't believe that the fat meat is greasy, the fathers become broken because they enable the behaviors they're actually seeing in their children. Enablement is a issue that many men and women have been guilty of as it relates to any form of relationship. And you would think after the first child, this young lady would have got a good man or a decent man to settle down with and to take care of her family. But with the moratorium evictions actually becoming more and more pronounced, and with millions of people being kicked out of their house, you're going to start seeing some desperate times and desperate measures from both sides, from both men and women. And because of that, you're going to see people that you haven't heard from in years coming back, maybe perhaps to your inbox, asking you for help. If you don't give it to them, they're going to try to shame you, a lot of these women, to get your resources. And one of the things that men have to do as we continue to traverse through these critical times in human history, you have to have a game plan. And if Dr. Dre had a game plan, Dr. Dre would not have been broken in this current situation that he's dealing with. And Dr. Dre is a reflection of many men, because many men have been broken not only by their wives or ex-wives, but they've been broken by girlfriends, they've been broken by friends, they've been broken by their communities. And because of that, they have a condition that I created called a schema affliction. Listen to this. This schema affliction actually occurs because many men don't feel like they have value or worth. Men by nature, and I need you young men to listen to this, men by nature are programmed to provide and to protect. But the problem is we don't have the power to turn off those thoughts and give our resources and our time to women or other people that are not worthy of it. You are not a mule. You are not an animal. You are not a horse. You are a human being. And when you give your time and resources to women or others that are not worthy of it, You play the role of a fool because then eventually you will become broken. Dr. J is a crooner. He's close to my age. He was known for gangster rap. And you would think that Dr. Dre, being from California and being more or less savvy, would not have got caught up in a condition where he's more or less enabled his daughter to think that she deserves to have his resources over and over again after being disrespected. One of the greatest things that many women don't understand about male nature is this. Men do not operate on the currency of fickle emotions like love, but men operate on principles and standards that are more or less equivocated to respect. When men are respected, they will give you anything. When men are respected, they will die for you. When men are respected, they will give you provision. But a lot of women are not going to be provided for or taken care of because they have not respected their husbands or boyfriends or brothers based on principles. I want to challenge some of you young men out here today not to be broken by manipulation. I want you guys not to be broken by more or less trying to please people that don't really give a damn about you. I want you to learn how to love yourself and to put yourself first in this world that we live in, because times, as I said earlier, about to get very crazy. And what I've learned in order to keep yourself sane and not be broken, the women that don't believe that the fat meat is greasy or either friends, you're going to have to let them learn the hard way. Because Dr. Dre's daughter is going to have to learn the hard way, unfortunately, if her father doesn't come to her rescue. And Dr. Dre is going to learn the hard way because he married a woman that's going to take a large portion of his assets, where Dr. Dre could have probably been more savory not to get married in a state like California. If any of you young men have been broken, I want you to contact me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. That's kosherclinician@gmail.com. And I want you to tell me about some of the things that you have been broken based on and how this brokenness has more or less impacted you in a negative way. This current virus that we have left many men on the verge of suicide. Many were depressed, and many didn't have anywhere to turn to because they didn't have the necessary requisite tools to help them overcome the challenges that they are having. But because I am a clinical therapist, I can give you the tools that you need that you won't become broken like Dr. Dre and many other men in this current toxic culture that we call America. I want you to ask yourself the question as we're about to end this short show. Should Dr. Dre have more or less continued to give his daughter resources when she didn't earn it? Should Dr. Dre more or less reach out to his daughter once again as she is in crisis with 4 kids? Or should Dr. Dre do what many men are beginning to do, is let his daughter learn the hard way because of her lack of wisdom, her lack of learning, and her lack of entitlement, or more or less her need for entitlement? I want you to think about this, and I want you to think about some of the things that you've been through, and I want you to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. And once that man become optimized, he will learn more or less to be aware of some of the traps that Dr. Dre and many men have gotten into that's left them broken mentally, physically, and also financially. Be well.